welcome to this new stream of the Reading Aloud session of the Shāh-nāmeh, the Book of Kings. Here is your master of tragedy, or at least the performer of said masterity on tragedy, which is me, yours truly, Plumas, and welcome to Las Plumas de Simur. I hope, I don't know anymore, because the readings of the Book of Kings are getting, if anything, violent as we progress, and quite dreadful at some parts, and quite, if anything, the characters in the Shāh-nāmeh are showing the more relentless side in the worst possible meaning of the word, and it's just I don't even know how to introduce these sessions, because it's a rough. We're through a tough part, and sometimes when I am reading and I try to convey like a cheerful manner and to introduce the new episode, at least the new reading sessions, I always think to myself, what's cheerful in what are you going to read, and what was cheerful about the last 6 episodes that we had. We are very deep in the pit of misery, Bacha. It's a wee bit too much. You reckon it's just, oh God, but I have things to show you that are beautiful. I'm going to say hello to you. Salam, Captain. Oh, my Captain. Salam, Pichu. Salam, Umberto. Umberto says, hello, I have the most stressful day at work, so we expect the Shāh-nāmeh will be calm and relaxing. Umberto Aziz, it's not going to be calm and relaxing, but I will do my best to convey a nice experience for you and for the other people listening. But definitely calm and relaxing is not what this episode is going to be highlighted for. It's not a spoiler. It's a disclaimer to myself, because if by the end of this reading you are more stressed than you were before stepping in here, I apologize, but don't shoot the reader. I am but the mere messenger of our beloved Ferdowsi, who clearly has a thing for playing with people's hearts and showing the rawest, cruelest part of humanity, because why not? Hello, Uloko! See, Uloko says, so we are getting to the lots of people dying part. There were a lot of people dying in the previous part, if you remember. And No Soy Rosa is usually driving. Please be careful. And yes, Rostam is going to be liándola quite severely. It is calm and relaxing, says Pichu, if you don't have to live what it is told. Exactly. If you know the protagonist of these sessions, events, then everything is fine. It's cute. It's nice. It's just like, it's really like a roller coaster of emotions. But I have to show you something before starting, and that is a beautiful present that my dear friend Mohammad Rasulipur sent me over from his project Eranshar. And this is, I was going to say this is publicity. This is not publicity in the sense that this is a present from a friend to a friend, but to hell with it. It is publicity because I want you all to know Mohammad and his team and his project, because they're doing such a magnificent work in spreading the knowledge and the awareness about Iranian folklore, Iranian literature, Iranian architecture, using the modern tools we have today. And what I have in my hand is no other but the game Mythical Creatures of Iran. Are you focusing, dear camera? There you go, Iranian Mythical Creatures. And it's a card game for 2 to 8 players. I haven't played it yet myself, but you can see all the specifications in here. And this is the wonderful, beautiful logo of the project Eranshar. Again, if you are listening to this, you're not seeing this, but remember that I need to comment something on this. People will reach to me and mention some things about the Spotify and ebooks files, saying that it is too much video oriented. And yes, it is. This is a live stream, and I don't have a script right now. I am not recording this in the silence of my room. I am streaming in the silence of my room with my glass of tea and my beautiful bacha here in the chat. So if you want to participate and partake of this fun that is the live session, you should come by. I would love to say hello to you. And please check out eranshar.com/games for more details. And I know this ships internationally. It made it to Spain. So, and we're gonna open it. I've already opened it. I've already read the instructions. Yes, but you haven't seen it. And this is what it looks like from the inside. Oh, it's upside down. Surprise to none. Gorgeous Simorg. I put her first because my gosh, she's stunning. She's stunning. She's queen of the land. So you have here the instructions. It is very simple. It is very straightforward. And in one go, you can just read through it. It came with a letter, a lovely letter from the team. And oh my God, I was so happy to receive this. And it's both in Persian and in English. So you, and by you, I mean me. I'm going to practice a lot my Persian with this. And Pichu, the link, yes, you're right. I'm going to type it here. There you go. This is the link. And now they have a Book of Kings deck that they're collecting, and it is lovely. They have Seawash in it. And okay, but let's see the cards. They are wonderfully crafted. I'm going to take out Simurg from here, and you can see there's the card with text both. Oh, you can see the little dot. This is not a shiny card, is because Simurg is green. So that's the reason why you can see shining the feathers of her tail, the plumes of her tail. And it has this wonderful golden rim, and it's gorgeous. And the back with the logo of Shāh-nāmeh. Sorry if I am moving a lot. This is the first time I do this. And basically, here you have all the cards with all the creators ordered by types. Let's see some of them that you might know. I'm trying to think. Well, this one. This is Kuyota, also known in Persian as Gave Mahi, meaning the cow and the fish that support the world. We talked about this in our Iranian bestiary. You also have, this is Kuknus. Kuknus is what would be the interpretation. Well, those this green. Kuknus is the interpretation of the firebird that rebirths from the ashes. Let's show you. Oh my God, this Ashud host, one of my favorites. This is a very dangerous, a perilous old kind of bird from Zoroastrianism. And you can see they have some stats. I'm not going to explain to you how to play. We could do this some other time. Who runs this store? The store is run by my friend Mohammad Rasolipur. More of you watching this. Thank you so much for the gift. I loved it. And his team and his company, Eranshar. And who else do you know? There's a lot. Oh, this. You know the Avalpa. Do you remember the one that had these leather-like limbs, and it would strap his protuberances? I don't know how his things around the body of their victims, and just strap himself to them like sort of a very creepy backpack and make you carry him until you die of exhaustion, and then he takes a new host. It's a parasite kind of div. And there's divs also too. There's a whole section dedicated to the divs, and I'm trying to look for one that you perhaps know. Oh, of course, you know this one. This is Divasapit. And if you can see, all the pictures have been redrawn but taken from original manuscripts from the Persianate and Iranian culture, and I love it. I love it so, so much. Yeah. And I'm so excited to play this game. I haven't sat properly. I read the rules and the instructions, but I haven't still sit properly and play a full run. But I reckon I'm going to love it. And of course, I am getting myself a beautiful copy of the Shāh-nāmeh collector's cards. I was going to do that, but then Muhammad said, stop, there's a package for you on the way. Maybe you can do it after. And it's like, oh, thank you. And worth every penny. So here you go. Iranian mythical creatures from Eran Shah, the game. And thank you so much, Muhammad, for the gift. It is lovely and I adore it. And I just want to express to how extent I am happy that someone's doing this, because me, with the zero talent for the arts and crafts that I have, I love having this as a support for what I do in this awareness and sharing of the Iranian culture and the Persianate, because it is wonderful that people are using modern tools to, remind of the importance of heritage, of folklore. And some of these creatures some of the creatures contained in this deck are very, very local, meaning local folklore, and all of them have their own entry at eranshar.com. So if you are curious about learning from them and their stories, you can go to eranshar.com and look for them. Or also you can find, I think it's called 1,001 Mythical Creatures. I'm going to put the link over here too. And you have all of them and much more there. And it's just wonderful, honestly. I cannot but emphasize the importance of these tasks, and it's just glorious. And I am happy to share this with you and to share Muhammad and his team's effort. Uloko says maybe they should do their own modern Persian miniature illustration of the Shāh-nāmeh. They are doing it. Can I show you? There's this part about the kings, but like the real kings, meaning the how can I say it? The real kings that they actually existed. And then there is the story section of the Book of Kings, in which you can see all of the characters and all the genealogies of the Shāh-nāmeh, which is incredibly useful for the reading, because you can get lost so easy in this. And you can explore the content, and there's a lot of people in here, and there's timelines and family relations and stuff. So it's really, really worth spending your time in here. Maybe one day we can just sit and chat and just go over the Eran Shah project, because I think it's just fantastic. And I'm not just saying this because I know more on the team and I love them. I do. But you know me, I am also very strict with the feedback I give, meaning that if I don't think something is worth your time or professional wise, a good product, I wouldn't advise it. I just don't give compliments, because there's a reasoning behind me saying and emphasizing how important this is. And I do believe in this project. I am a big supporter of Eran Shah, and I will continue to support them, whatever they do on and about, because the quality is incredible. So yeah, one day maybe we can explore it and enjoy, honestly, because if anything, you would be there to enjoy the wonders of it. And I think I've rambled for a long time enough. I want to check something. Okay, sorry, allow me to look for something, because I need to do a wee bit of a cleaning now, because in the last sessions the bot presence has been, oh god, exhausting, because for some reason us little channels attract a lot of bots, and that could be very bad for for your input and the way Twitch sees us, because they don't like bots. But yeah, indeed, Peachu's website is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to press play in our nice listening / reading / everything music, Ancient Winds. And we're going to jump into the real meat and potatoes of today's session. So, to do a very quick and hopefully not so bloody recap, the last time we were reading, Rostam had basically massacred the Turanian army, and in doing so he had also killed Surkha, the Turanian prince and son of Afraziab. as a reaction of the assassination of his own son, mind that Rostam performed this execution exactly in the same manner as Afrasiab took Siavosh's life. He did that on purpose. Salam, Yersey, how are you? He did that on purpose, of course, and he had a moment to reconsider, but he refused to listen to any reason, and he carried on with the task. So, as a reaction of his son being brutally murdered and somehow in cold blood, I will give that to Afrasiab. Afrasiab marched upon the Iranian armies, and this was a sea of blood. A lot of soldiers have been murdered and dismembered. There is this crimson tide covering the entirety of Earth, and there they are. There they are, the Iranians and Turanians. Salam Serafi, Salam Waxen. And there they are, confronting each other. However, and we're going to start the reading now. However, as Piran, how are you, Plumas? Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for asking me. Oh, you're so nice, Macha, when you ask me about how I am. I am good. I am very good. And also, if you want to replay the first part of the video, I showed a beautiful game of cards that my friend Mohammad Razulipur sent to me. And it's a beautiful game about the Iranian mythical creatures. And it's just so good. And possibly we could have... I think we could have a go. I don't know if I can play by myself in here, but maybe I could trick Bob into coming here, only showing his hands. Oh no, honestly, I don't know. You look radiant and ready for the Versadura. Oh, Azizam, thank you. I'm wearing new earrings. Do you like them? They have this shade of blue that really, really like. Thank you. I wash my hair and everything. I am like pristine and ready to be covered in the blood of the Iranians and Turanians. Because that's what my life is now. So, as I was saying, although the Turanians and Iranians are engaged in fierce combat, as Piran... Oh, I haven't told you in the recap about that. Okay, so Rostam murdered two very important people, one of them being Surja, the heir prince and son of Afrasiab. I'm already rolling my eyes. And also, he killed a very important Iranian hero, Pilsom. You might remember Pilsom because he was involved in the saving of Kai Khosrow and the sparing the life of Farigiz, Afrasiab's daughter. Because let us not forget, Bacha, that Afrasiab is a psychopath, and I'm going to be insistent about that in every single reading because I don't want you to be carried away by the suffering of the moment. Afrasiab had everything that he's suffering coming. He saw this in a dream. He had the chance to stop. He refused to do so. He had the chance to not kill Siavosh and basically unravel Ragnarok and mayhem, but he did. So he had it coming. I'm not going to feel pity for him. Absolutely not. The same manner I won't feel pity for Kai Kavuz. Not in a million bloody years. So, I'm sorry, I was saying two people. First, Surja, the Turanian heir prince, and then Pilsom. Pilsom is he's no more. He's no more. Pilsom was the younger brother of Piran, who is Afrasiab's most trusted soldier and minister. And when Afrasiab was sending Pilsom to the battle, Piran foresaw that should his brother be killed, that would be such a hard smash to take in the morality of the troops. That was the morale was already, fragile, we can say, and seeing one of the greatest warriors of the army, who is Pilsom, being killed before everyone else's eyes, because let's just remember that Rostam became a torero and he pierced the body of Pilsom and paraded. It was bad, all right? That's the only thing you have to... It was bad and it was public. That is what we're going to go for. So the morale of the troops is... These people have seen better days. However, Afrasiab said to his troops, our fortune that was awake is sleeping. We are feeble and I must to the field. Be leopard-like in resolution if but for today. Attack from every quarter and fight on. Lay ambushes on all sides for the foe, and bring the sun down, with your spears. Immediately he quitted the center of his host, hard-seared, revengeful, and charged against Tus, who marched up front, and Afrasiab and his men started slaughtering many, many of Iranian soldiers until Tus, whose heart misgave him, showed his back. He came for aid to Rostam, saying thus: "The matter goeth ill with us today. Our whole right is a sea of blood. The banner of our Iranian horsemen has gone down. Please can you help?" Basically. Uloko says, "But it looks like they are unlikely to see better days from here on." I don't want to say anything, Uloko, because I know things that are coming. But I can guarantee you that we still have a lot to see from Turan. And I must stop myself right there. So basically, Tus being suffocated by and really pressured by the enemy asks Rostam for help. And here he comes. You know Rostam, right? We've been together for a long, right? And you know Rostam. And Rostam is a man of extremes. And Rostam, you've seen him. You've been with me. If you've been listening to all the readings of the Shāh-nāmeh, you may know this already. If not, allow me to digress a wee bit to tell you. You've seen Rostam possibly showing all his colors and all his facets. What I mean by this is that Rostam has performed the greatest deeds and noblest of actions, but he's also shown already what he's capable of doing, and he's represented himself as a real bloodthirsty monster. And in this very moment, Rostam is attending to no reason because he can simply not. I'm not justifying him, because murder is murder, but he's just blind and deaf and just dumb to absolutely everything that is not killing and persecuting the Turanians until he gets his revenge, because the death of Siavash is a heavy one, and it's just they carry the weight of these atrocity in their hearts. So in this moment, he's incapable of any reasoning or speaking. No, there's only one thought in his mind, and that is just to shed Turanian blood. Bear with. Yes, Pichu, I agree with you. He says war is the most unpredictable human activity. Never expect anything. To that, I will also add, do not expect Rostam to behave in a knighty gentleman-ish kind of way, because he won't. He can't. He cannot. He's too human for that. So the Elephantine Rostam came from the center with Faramars and his troops. In case you have forgotten, Faramars is Rostam's young son. Confronting them were many Buklemen who hated Rostam, allies and kinsmen of Afrasiab, swift in revenge, of whom the matchless one, being that Rostam, slew many, backed by Tus and Faramars. See, the Turanians are very resentful of Rostam, and they truly hate him because, well, they might have been responsible for the killing of Siavash, but Rostam just killed Pilzom and Surkha in just one day, and he is destroying everything. He's just completely making their land, their home, suffer and burn under the fires of war. Thank you so much. Oh, you've resubscribed again. Thank you for your support. And here, cheers to you. Boom. Thank you for supporting the Plumas activity. I am very grateful for you. So, but as you can see, they were no match for him. Not in vain, Rostam is called the bestower of the crown and the conqueror of worlds, because up to this date, there is no one that could defeat him. He's just the best warrior that ever was, that ever will be. That is his destiny. And Afrasiab, in the heat of the battle, Suddenly, Afrasiab saw the flag, the violet flag of Corvée. That is the Cayenian standard. And he knew. He said to himself, this is Rostam, of the elephantine form, the noble chieftain sprung from Nariman. See, because in some parts the Shāh-nāmeh is very much like the Song of Ice and Fire book series. They like to specify the lineage and nobility of the characters whenever they're presented. Therefore, Nariman is the mythical ancestor of the family of Rostam, that being the ancestor of Zal and Sam too. And I am very curious, Bachar, if you would guess what Afrasiab did at this very moment. Just picture the image, okay? There is this bloody combat taking place, and then Afrasiab, the Turanian king, none other, he spotted the flag of Corvée in the distance and learned that that was Rostam himself that was there on the battlefield, so close to him. What do you think that Afrasiab did immediately? And I'm going to give you two answers. Did he flee and abandon the combat? Did he confront Rostam personally? Or if you have other ideas, what do you think those were? Pichu thinks he fled. He escaped. Off to a safer place. Okay? I really like how you're starting to get the grasp of how the Shāh-nāmeh works. But I'm curious about more others. What do you, Bachar, think? Because I must confess, I didn't see this coming when I was reading, because I didn't know what to expect. Everyone was so heated up that, yes, we read the answer. So Umberto thinks he goes forward to engage in personal combat with Rostam. And yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I read this for the first time, honestly. And Uloko says, I get the impression that not breaking the story to go into a long digression on some character's lineage is actually the modern innovation in literature, not the other way around. I like that reflection. I like that. Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I will put it, I will put that one on a note and reflect upon it, and maybe I can bring that up for coming streams about literature. But Uloko, what do you think? What did Afrasiab do? Flee or combat? We have 1 and 1. I know that Umberto is convinced, and Pichu, yes, we read the answer, but it's very nice that you don't remember, so you can participate again. I don't think you responded last time. He will run like a pollo sin cabeza. No Soy Ross thinks he will run towards home like a headless chicken, and Serapis says he will flee as well. Okay, time to reveal what happened. I am very proud to inform that the person that was correct was indeed Umberto, because Afrasiab is absolutely blinded by hatred and bloodthirst. He's eager for revenge. So, and raging as if it were a warrior become a leopard, Afrasiab sat tight in his horse and went up to personally encounter Rostam. They're gonna face each other for the very first time in the whole book, and it's going to be brutal. As soon as Rostam saw the sable flag, because there's these color. Do you know what the color sable is? This kind of dark brownish, blackish, bluish color. It's a very dark one, and that is the flag of the Cayenians, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, exactly. Is Afrasiab, Uloko asks, even known for fighting skills? You know what? I don't know. I guess because, as these people are not really that, they're not characterized by the, what's the word I'm looking for? Individuality. Rather, they represent archetypes. Afrasiab, well, after all, he is a king, and a king must master the two tasks, the banquet and the fight, the basm and the razm, I swear that I will talk about this one day. So we can assume that Afrasiab is known for his fighting skills because that's what it is expected for a king. Same as Kavuz and Ahmuraz and Zahok and Sam and Zol. All of these characters of importance knew how to fight properly, very not properly, but excellently, I would say. So, round one, fight! So when Rostam saw the flag, he also knew that was Afrasiab, and he bounded like a lion in its rage, then fully on fury gave fleet to Rakshas the reins. Raksh doesn't need to be guided. He knows exactly what he ought to do, because let us remember that if there's one hero on this book full of murderers and blood spillers, that hero is Raksh, the horse. And with blood streaming from his lance's point, Rostam encountered proud Afrasiab. What is that, Uloko? Usually backstabbing jerks in the books are stereotypically not the best fighters. Yes, in modern storytelling, I would reckon, but we've seen also very multifaceted versions. That didn't make any sense. Let me rephrase it. We've seen how multifaceted Afrasiab can actually be. And we should remember that he conquered Iran once, accompanied by his brother Agriros, who he then murdered, split in two by his own sword. I'm never going to grow tired of remembering that, because Agriros, that is among my favorite characters. His narrative arc and personality, I adore. So I'm never going to forgive Afrasiab the murder of his own brother. Of course, I'm not going to forgive him the murder of Siavash, but that is entirely understood and comprehensible. I hope that you don't forgive them that either. Would you be able to forgive Afrasiab after the hell he obligated Siavash to live through? Would you really? I couldn't bring myself to do so. Absolutely not. He must be destroyed in a very painful manner. See, thinking of Afrasiab lights off the most terrible fires in my soul. Like the worst of myself. The demons grow up and out of my body when I think of Afrasiab. That's what the poem wants me to do so. Okay. I'm going to read these on one go because it's a very confusing scene. And I don't know if it's the English adaptation of the verses, but at least in Spanish, I had a lot of trouble telling you what was going on. I'm hoping, since I'm reading and not translating this one, it would be a little bit clearer. I can only hope, because it's a bit of a convoluted scenario. Okay, so Rostam and Afrasiab encountered in combat. Okay, one shaft of poplar, pointed like a willow leaf, that is the lance of Rostam, pinned to his head the Turkman's helm, the Turanian's helm, while Afrasiab's speared warlike Rostam fall upon the breast. The point went through the leather of his belt, but failed against the tiger skin cuirass. Then the matchless Rostam, bent upon revenge, speared his opponent's charger through the chest. Poor horse! The speedy steed fell prone in agony and threw the rider. So the horse has just thrown Afrasiab into the very dust. Now Afrasiab is now in the ground. Whom the hero, meaning Rostam, strove to seize around the waist and make an end. Because we know the drill. We know what happens when Rostam catches someone by the waist. He lifts them up above his head and throws them to the other side, generally breaking a noticeable amount of bones in the process. So basically now Afrasiab is completely defenseless, and Rostam is about to kill him in a very brutal way. However, However, I told you, there's a lot for us to hear from Rostam. There was a Turanian warrior. His name was Homan. And Homan, who was apart fighting the Iranians, caught sight of his king, and he found out the danger he was in. So this is the thing. These two people, Rostam and Afrasiab, are not fighting alone. This is not just a single challenge combat. This is war. This is a battle. So there's Iranian and Turanian soldiers everywhere. Oh, Uloko asked is he going to throw sand in Rostam's face? Something that actually Rostam did to Sohrab when he was about to be killed by his own son. The Shāh-nāmeh. Don't we love this book? Why do we love this book? Just tell me. Every anecdote and everything I've been telling you for the past, I swear, 10 episodes of this series of reading has been terrible, heartbreaking, so much suffering. Why do I love this book? Why do you love this book? Why do you share my penance and my illness? I really want to know. So, as I was saying, there was Homan, who saw that his king was gravely in danger, and yes, it was dangerous. So Homan, raising his massive mace upon his shoulder, smote the shoulder blade of the elephantine Rostam, while both the armies shouted. So Homan knows, he's very aware that he has 0 to -3 possibilities of surviving Rostam. He's not actually attempting to kill Rostam, he's just distracting him. He wants to call for his attention, he wants to, create this diversion for him. So Rostam won't be focusing on Afrasiab anymore and just looking at Homan, giving an opening to Afrasiab to escape. And he does, because Rostam is a maddened animal at this point. Just imagine someone that has gone completely feral, out of his human senses. That is how Rostam is now. He turned and looked behind him, and thus, in this opening, the king of Turan escaped his grasp. He mounted on a speedy steed, the first horse he could find, he mounted on, while by 100 shits, Homan, the son of Besar, saved him from the Iranian dragon's clutch. So that's just basically it. It says 100 shifts. Homan just repeatedly is smacking Rostam in the shoulder, pretty much like you would do with an animal when you want them to release something. Do you have pets? Because I have experience with pets, and when you want a dog, for example, to release something, you would either pat them in the jaw or in the neck or something. He's just like, he's just, repeatedly smacking Rostam, so Rostam would solely focus on him. Rostam, the hero-flinging, crown bestower, followed Homan in this furious whirlpool, and yes, he's going to destroy him because he's just so mad. However, even though Rostam moves hastily, he could not quote him, since the heavens decreed the time of Homan had not yet come. It was not the time for Homan to pass, and it was not Rostam's destiny to kill Homan. Homan Azizam, I was gonna say you don't know, but I'm pretty sure you do, because you knew where you were getting yourself into. You are very much aware that you are now reborn. Homan is born again. He escaped the clutches of maddened, angry, hateful Rostam, unharmed. I'm sorry. I'm just imagining, I'm trying to recreate the thought process of Homan going head first against the most powerful human to ever walk the earth in the Shāh-nāmeh. The most powerful warrior who already killed 3 magnificent soldiers of the Turanian army. But your king's in danger and you're loyal subjects, so you throw yourself to him head first, as I was saying, to save Afrasiab. Without thinking that much, because if you give this a single thought, you would stop yourself. You start hitting that monster of a human being, that gargantuan man in the shoulder, with the hope that he would release your king. He does, and then he walks towards you. And just, alright, let's just do this exercise of imagination. But Shah, attempt to evoke in your head, you are on a battlefield alone, your friends are not nearby, and you see Rostam completely unhinged coming to you with blood injected in his eyes. The fierceness of the sun scorched his cheeks already. The sweat and the stench of battle, of the blood of perhaps your brothers and sisters gathered in his body, walking towards you, is like seeing the flipping death, like the Grim Reaper walking, to get you. and then because you're looking off, you escape unharmed. It's not even that you got yourself any scar. Rostam didn't even touch you, and you made it back home, or at least back with your army, without a single bone broken, not a scratch, not a bruise. As did Homan Aziz, he really knows his luck. And I think he values life the triple or the quadruple now, because dude. Oh my god. The bullet you dodged in here. My god. It walks in. The problem is that Rostam has no feathers of Simurg. Those feathers belong solely and exclusively to his father, to Zal, because Simurg didn't want anyone else in the world to have them, because she's particular, and I love her for that. Nosero says, from this battlefield to Las Vegas, trust me, you're a lucky man, Homan. He is the luckiest man in the world, at least now. Okay, so the battle continues. Shouts rose to heaven, and massive maces whirled. There came to Rostam some of the army of Iran, lest harm might fall upon him, and the noble Tus made a question of him, because they just saw. It's not... The army advanced with the intention of aiding Rostam, not like Rostam needs any kind of succor in this case, but the intention is what matters, how do you say this word it's not that you need, it's not that Rostam needed anything, but the army went to him, and Tus made the question. He said, felt the elephant, Rostam, the impact of the Gonaga's assault, Homan, but Shah, even though Rostam is unleashed and feral and unhinged, it's been a minute since the last time we heard him being himself. The proud and boastful creature he is. So here the poem gives us yet again a taste of what it's like being Rostam. And he answered, neither heart of stone nor anvil can bear the buffets of a massive mace when wielded by a man with chest and arms. As for that mace wherewith Homan struck me, call it not iron, it was merely wax. And then he tosses his hair. I'm imagining. You do the hair toss, arms cross, walking away. I don't know if you know that word. That song. So. And, so Rostam is just, showing off that Homan did course, not even a single scratch in him, which is true. I mean, Homan, that was not his intention. It's just, yeah, we know, Rostam, you are unharmed and perfectly in one piece. We're happy for you. Uloko asks, why even bother bringing the army? All the other guys do is eat supplies Rostam could be eating. You know, I'm pretty sure at some point Rostam thought that himself too. Let us continue. When Rostam's foe turned and fled, the troops all gave a shout and raised the spearheads cloudwards. If slain and wounded covered not the ground, it was a field of tulips and of saffron. The horses trampled blood, the elephants had feet incarnadined. The Turanians fled, swift as the wind, because the army of Rostam did execution on them. For 3 parazangs, that matchless hero, like a raging dragon, pursued his enemy. Rostam was relentless and he knew no exhaustion. He ordered to pursue and chase the enemy. At some point, he returned to camp, and though could have said that the heavens befriended him because his fortune was shining, the soldiers at this moment, when they return to camp, the Iranian soldiers, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, nor camouflage it in any way. They came back, they satiated with spoil and pillage and stealing, because that's what war is like. And possibly they did other terrible things too, which are not listed in the poem, and I'm not gonna bring myself to list them either, because you know what I mean. And the bounty was considerable. There was iron, gold, and silver, weapons, reins, spearheads, and girdle that covered the plain. Now, when the sun rose over the mountaintops and scattered jewels on night's peachy back, a shout rose at the din of clarions as matchless Rustam led his army forth. They marched against Afrasiab with cheeks all tearful for the death of Sayavash. King Afrasiab, on hearing that a host pursued him, led by the matchless chief Rostam, intent of vengeance, marched his own forces to the Sea of Chin, meaning China in this case. But the broad expanse of earth was narrowed to him. He ran out of places to run to. And then, Butcher, allow me to ask you a question. Did anyone remember that at this point in the story of the Shāh-nāmeh, Kai Khosrow, the heir to the throne of the King of Kings, the son, the very firstborn of Turanian and Iranian blood, son of Sayavash and grandson of Kai Kavuz, is in Afrasiab's power? Did someone remember this boy? Because he is under the dark grip of Afrasiab. He's still with him. Not only Kai Khosrow, but also his mom, Farigiz. Did you guys remember that? Because it's important now. So, Afrasiab addressed Piran, remember, his minister and close friend and loyal subject and general. And he said, advise me well. What should be done about this wretched boy? He's talking about Kai Khosrow. Because if Rostam take and carry him off to Iran, they will enthrone and crown this Div-begotten as king of kings. Convey him hither, bestir yourself, and slight not my command. Basically, Afrasiab wants to kill Kai Khosrow and eliminate the problem in a very Afrasiab fashion, because murder is the first answer to absolutely all the questions ever asked in the world. In it, Afrasiab Azizam. I have to admit, says Nofiros, I had forgotten it on the Harana. Yeah, the Harana is not exactly organized because of this kid, but he is a very important consequence of the Harana. He's a very fundamental element in this ongoing Harana. Piran, being the noble soul that he is, because we've learned many things throughout our readings of the Book of Kings, but Shah, and we know, even though how Manichaean the Shāh-nāmeh can be, sometimes not everything is black or white. No, there's some place, there's room for a little bit of grey, and one of these greys is Piran. Piran is a Turanian, therefore he should be quote unquote a bad character. However, the poem has consistently and often showed us how kind-hearted he is, how much he thinks about the consequences of his action. May I remind you that it was him who befriended Seavash and wanted Seavash to, make peace with Afrasiab and stay in Turan, make there his permanent residence, establish his family there. He wanted Afrasiab to be gentle and kind to Seavash, and also Piran had the last word regarding the birth of Kai Khosrow. He already saved Kai Khosrow's life once when he was very little, when he was just a newborn, and he's going to do that again, or at least he's going to attempt to. Uloko says you could argue that murder has been big source of Afrasiab's problems too. Yes, exactly. I mean, that is the main reason why we find ourselves here today. Like, God, some people just don't learn. Jesus bendito. Okay, so Piran replied, "We must not rashly slay him, my king, but I will take such order if you shall praise his faithful slave." Meaning that at the end of the day, I am but your servant, and I must do whatever you order me to do. Then Piran says, fetch me the youth. I will take care of him and fix his residence within Khotan. Khotan was a Buddhist reign in the Central Asia that was, typically it's placed under this very big umbrella of the label Saka, meaning Scythian. So that is Khotan. That is where actually currently is Kai Khosrow. And Piran continued, we must not give occasion to ill-doers, eternally to blame our sovereign. Which is kind of amusing for me to read, because if anything, Afrasiab has been constantly and permanently spoiling his name and throwing dirt onto his memory. That appears to be his favorite hobby. He enjoys passing the time in such manner. The king replied, "O master of wise rede, you are my guide to good. Use all dispatch. There is no matter that will brook delay." So off he went. Piran at once sent off a prudent man of noble birth to fetch the prince Kai Khosrow. The envoy made haste and sped like smoke, for so the chieftain had bidden. And here we have yet another episode, or another moment of the poem, being the NPCs of the Shāh-nāmeh, the very secondary characters, the bluff, the bluff characters, the background noise of the Shāh-nāmeh, are able to perfectly recognize far when they encounter it. We've seen these multiple occasions happening, that when a peasant or someone that has not even a name encounters themselves with someone from the royal family, and more precisely someone that has the far with them, people recognize it. They are able to see what some others cannot. And when this envoy came before Kai Khosrow, he saw it. And he knew he was in the presence of a true prince and heir. He saw the young man's grace, the majesty of him, his face, his beauty, his posture. He knew, he could recognize the far, which in this poem I think is important that you imagine it as a sort of white, pale light that emanates from the very flesh of the person. This envoy is literally in the presence of divine glory, and he knows, he is very well aware. So he gave instant praise, did reverence, and tarried long, delivering his message in fitting language, because he's in presence of a king of kings. Long and delivered. And then Khosrow Kai Khosrow, he's but a kid. He must be at this moment, 12? Tops? 12 to 10, 12 years old? Because remember, the Shāh-nāmeh is vague, to say the least, about ages and how time works, but that is all right. He's yeah, I would think he would be like 12 or something. He is taken aback by this reaction, bewildered, and he did whatever I do when I'm in trouble, and whatever some of the very clever characters in the Shāh-nāmeh also do. Call him Mom, because he doesn't know how to proceed. He said, Mom, Afrasiab has sent and summoned me down to the sea, because yes, Afrasiab is by the Sea of China. What shall we do? Perchance we yet may make a shift to save our lives, because listen to me, Azizam Bacha. Kai Khosrow doesn't want to go. He just doesn't want to. And what is that, Humberto? Thinking about ages, I imagine Rostam must be getting on in tears by now. Yeah, Rostam must be like 1,000 at this point. But it's not important. It's still the heroic era, and people are... longevity is a thing. And Kai Khosrow and his mom talked together and discussed it much, but unfortunately they found no remedy. They had to go and set off, though unwillingly, in haste. They mourned and wept and cursed Afrasiab until they reached Piran, who, when he saw Khosrow, he also recognized what he was seeing, and, Piran grew fond, and he grew to love this kid. And hello, Avena. Oh, Avena says, I'm considering to stay here instead of going to my English class. Thank you. I'm very much aware that a lot of Spanish speakers replay my audios to, enhance their listening skills and improve their listening, which is something I'm very, very honored about. Thank you for trusting me as your listening sessions. If I can be useful to you in a twofold manner, then I am happy to oblige. You're welcome. And when they reached Piran, when he saw Khosrow, he descended from his throne, inquired about the tedious journey, cautiously and full of praises, set the prince beside him. As for those things whereof Khosrow and his more than needed provisions, raiment, carpetings, pavilions, tents, steeds, Piran provided him with all. Then went to King Afrasiab and said, okay, so this is exactly Piran's words. O King of wisdom, grace, and glory. And I'm going to pause. Every time Piran addresses Afrasiab, I giggle, because it is ridiculously funny to me reading that he actually believes or addresses his king as king of wisdom. Wisdom, really? Do you think? Did you really think, Piran? So this for me is but the confirmation that often words are but words. This is a formula of greeting the king, because nobody believes that glory or wisdom are with Afrasiab at this point. Not even Piran himself must believe this, because it's not true. For hell's sake, it is absolutely bonkers to believe that. It's just impossible. Not found. Wisdom is not found in this brain of... oh God. Anywho, the king then said, send him from the Sea of China so that the chiefs, the Iranian chiefs that is, may find no trace of him. So there you go, off to the sea. Piran performed these tasks without delay and sent like smoke the youth upon his way. So now little Kai Khosrow and Mom are on a boat floating away in the Sea of China. Why do we like this book? Why do I like this book? The reasoning behind this escapes me. And I'm going to read the last part. Well, not the last part. Oh my god, we still... Sorry. We still have a lot to... we have a lot to read. I thought we were reaching the last part. No, forgive me. This part we're going to enter right now. I want to read it to you because I think that you're not going to see this coming. This is utterly unexpected. At least it was for me. I remember this when we were doing the reading in Spanish and how flabbergasted I was by the turn of the events. And I'm going to share this with you. And then, who changed his name to Marco Polo? Kai Khosrow? Or Rostam? Rostam Polo, we're going to call him. Right, so... wait. So, the chief, the elephantine hero of the Iranians, meaning Rostam, marched towards the realm of China and with his sword arm subdued many territories. Among them we have Khata, Khotan, and all the coast of China. And then, and this is the plot twist, he took the throne of him whose fortune had come to dust. He sat on the throne of Afrasiab and he reigned over Turan for 7 years. Now Rostam is the leader and sovereign of Turan. I bet you didn't see this coming, did you? This person who never wanted a throne, political glory, or a career in the royal world, now sat his bum in the throne of Turan, brought his hands to the waist, contemplated his about, and said, this is mine now. Everything is mine. What? Lucas says I like how he just casually conquers random realms that get in his way. It's just these territories are also part of Turan. They are like we could say provinces or minor reigns within Turan. So yeah, it's just they were in the way. Nasser Ross says he thought it's impossible to do worse than my predecessor. To be fair, it is very difficult to do worse than Kai Kavus is doing. So... Thus spoke Rostam, the man of worth will seek the enemy. It is good to slay him if he encountered thee, and good too if he shun the fight and flee. He searched the palace for its hoards, the people disclosed them all. So Rostam took everything Afrasiab ever owned. The slaves, both boys and girls, faint for their beauty. Steeds and treasuries of gold, crowns, robes, brocade, and ivory throne fell into Rostam's hand, with many a jewel out of the Horde gang. And all the soldiers were rich in armlets, torques, and coronets. He gave torques, armlets, and the ivory throne to Tus, besides the government of Shash. And said to him, if anybody shall revolt, or even call Afrasiab to mind, cut off his head and make him food for vultures. But like a father keep from want and travail the wise and peaceful, shunners of the faith of Ahriman. Offend not the offenceless, and practice all humanity and justice. For this world is a lodging, not a home. None ever had more far with them than had Jamshid. Feridun did. Yet still high heaven trod him underfoot, and found the world a monarch in his stead. This is off canon, because it's not specified anywhere in the poem, but I do truly believe that these ivory throne and the sovereign of Ashash, Rostam gives to Tus as a way of apologizing of how poorly he has treated him over the last years, because he just stuck tools on a wall like he was a chewing gum in a single blow. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that happened. So I really think it's a way Rostam has to compensate his, very... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It escaped my mind. I just forgot the word. He's very questionable, I think, a questionable attitude towards tools. And then he moves forward to the worthy, fight fierce paladin that was Gudars. Gudars is someone I adore because he is among the very first to curse Kaikavos's name. And then after Gudars, we have Gib, who is his son. And these family, they're fantastic. And they also have the best, to my opinion, standard, which is the wolf flag. And these are lovely. These are very nice chaps. And to Gudars, he gave a crown of royal gems with earrings and a torg and a throne, and made him lord of Sord, that means Sordiana, and say Punjab. He added a council with commentations and felicitations and said, the seal of majesty and justice and feast and fight, again, the Basm and the Razm, remind us still of you. But worth is better than a high lineage, though lineage assisted men of worth. Since you have worth and lineage and wisdom, and that makes you a soul, a concourse of sweet sounds, it is but right that you should hear my rede. You are yourself a teacher of the great, from Sepanjab to Gulzariun, you would be the word and the law. Then he goes to Fariburz. Fariburz is a younger son to Avraz. Sorry. Oh, my bad. Fariburz is a younger son to Kaikavus and one of Siavosh's half-brothers. And to him, Rostam sent a crown of gold beside coins and gems and said, you are a prince and potentate and a brother to Siavosh. Avenge him. Never lose your lasso from the saddle straps. Cease not from vengeance on Avrazial, and take no thought of food, repose, and sleep. Be just in all your doings here below, for justice never ruined anyone. And then the tidings spread through China that Rostam sat enthroned as an overlord of Turan. Again, Bacha, Rostam is going to rule these places for 7 years. Then all the folk brought a handful of coins and royal gems and said, we are your servants and your slaves. We only tread the earth to do thy bidding. Rostam gave them quarter for their lives. I am guessing that he's tired of killing, if that's even possible for him, but he decided, I'm not going to murder anyone else anymore. It's like, I'm going to rest in here. And perceiving that they had discerning mind, occupied himself for many days with hunting with hawks and cheetahs. And thus, a while passed back. And now, Bacha, we are going to meet a lovely, lovely character, which I am very fond of, and I hope that you also will grow, loving towards him, because he's such an important character. His name in Arabic is Zawara, but I prefer his Persian name, Zavare. Zavare, or Zavara, is the little brother of Rostam, and he is a full brother, meaning that he's also a son to Rudabe and Zal. One might think that after how the first kid came out, Rudabe and Zal will put a stop into the, child creation. Nay, they also had another kid. His name is Zavare, and he's a young one. If Rostam is in his mid-30s, almost 40s, I am guessing Zavare is in his mid-20s, maybe just early 20s. I don't know. It's just to give you an orientation on how ages work between the two brothers. So Zavare just stayed there in Turan with his brother. Now, as it chanced, one day Zavare went to hound onagas. He rode a pace conducted by a Turanian. He didn't know his way about the place, but on the open, he saw a forest, which one would say one cannot pass, but it refreshes the soul. This butcher is among my favorite scenes in the Shāh-nāmeh, and I'm talking about a 60,000 long verses long poem. And this is so powerful, so stay with me for this because it's magical. Salam, Pato, how are you? It's nice to see you too. I hope you won't get in trouble for seeing me from work. I am doing fantastic. How are you? You really me enterneces. You really, you touch my heart when you ask me how I am. I'm good. I'm very happy. I'm going to share with you a very, very special moment, so come with me. So there was this forest, right? And there is something. Zāvare could not really put his finger on what it was, but it was different. There was this supernatural aura about it. There was this sense in the air, this sentiment, this feeling of all the worldliness around this forest. So many were the scents and tints and streams. And then Zāvare asked the Turanian what was this wonderful place he was contemplating, this magical spot on earth that really looked like extracted from paradise. The Turanian told Zāvare thoughtlessly, this was a hunting ground of Sayavash, his private hunting ground. This was his favorite place in all Turan. Where was he wont to be both glad and merry, but elsewhere sad. The Turanian's talk recalled all memories and recollections to Zāvare's mind. He was so taken aback by these words that the hawk that was perching on his hand, he let go. This is how lost in his own thoughts he was. The lashes of his eyes ran tears of blood because his heart had been just scorched and scared. His comrades of the host approached those who were hunting with him and observed him in grief and tears, scarred and pitiful. Then they began to curse the Turanian guide and felled him to the ground, thinking he had done something terrible to Zāvare. With gold drops streaming from his eyes, Zāvare swore before that forest a great oath. He said, I will not hunt or sleep or cease from vengeance on Afrasiab. I will not give a moment's rest to Rostam. Everything must prepare for the fight. And then he sought his brother. Zāvare is one to have in mind because he is a storm that entered the throne room where Rostam was resting and shouted to him. He confronted him saying, did we come here to revenge or to bless? He said, the giver of all good has given you the strength that made the circle of the sun your own star. Why should this realm be populous or any soul live joyfully in here? Forget not to avenge our prince, whose peer you will not look upon for many a year. It is incredible for me, from a literature point of view, how these verses can convey the strength and memory for Zāvare to move him in such manner, because he hasn't even entered the forest, Bachar. He didn't tread its landscape. No, he just contemplated it from afar. That forest is the last memory of Sayavash on earth, and Zāvare has seen it. And after 7 years of resting and enjoying themselves in Turan, he's reminded of what was the reason for them being there, and that is done via a forest, because that's how powerful literature and symbols are in the Persianate folklore. And I loved every bit of this when I read it for the first time, and I think it's one of the most moving scenes of the Shāh-nāmeh, at least for me. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Roused by Zābareh's words, the matchless Rostam stood. I mentioned before that Rostam is a man of extremes. He's either very tranquil, he just dozes off in a prairie surrounded by butterflies in a very calmly and warm light of the sunset, or he is a savage and a brute. Therefore, without a moment to lose, he began to ravage and to massacre the land of Turan until everything showed signs of misery. From Turan up to Rum, meaning the Anatolian Peninsula, folk saw no cultured tract. He's a beast, an unleashed beast, Bachar. I don't know how to put this in other words. This is terrible. Terrible what Rostam is doing. But there he goes. The Iranians beheaded all the men, both young and old, and made the women and the children slaves. Thus, over 1,000 parasangs and more the reek of burning rose. Then the few nobles that made it alive came with the dust upon their heads, protesting, pleading, supplicating. To Rostam, they said, "We are aweary of Afrasiab and would not see him, even in a dream. As for the guiltless blood that you had shed, we had not any voice or part therein, and now, although we are scattered people, yet we are all your slaves. As your mighty are, shed not. Please stop provoking God. Don't shed more guiltless," well, that's a difficult word for me to pronounce, guiltless blood. No one knows where our king is, or if he is well or blasted by the dragon's breath. So basically, the nobles of Turan came to Rostam to supplicate for him to stop killing, because there was so much innocent blood staining his hands. Practically the entirety of Turan's land is suffocated, drowned in the blood of its inhabitants. This is brutal, Butcher. This is so terrible that I don't think words pay justice to what actually is going on. It is among the most terrible things Rostam has ever done in his lifetime. And if we know something about him, is that he's fearful of God. He's a quite pious man. So mentioning that he might be provoking God's rage by spilling so much innocent blood, Rostam's heart was grieved thereat. It's like suddenly the veil was lifted from his eyesight and he could really see and contemplate the atrocities he had been performing for the very last moments. And he's terrified. It was like seeing himself, like the worst version of himself, in a mirror, staring back at him, holding like zero regrets. And he was seeing that. He did that. All of that. He commanded the soldiers to do that. Maybe I'm lingering in the brutality of the moment, but I really want to transmit you, Bachar, as best as I can, that this is not mere fight. The people Rostam is killing are no fighters. The Turanian army is well long gone. It's just, this is just brutality for the sake of it, because he can, because he is resentful, he is wounded, he's scarred, he's sad, he's destroyed. Yes, and a plethora of other words to attempt to convey how he deeply hurt is. Yet, there was no justification for this. The people he was attacking had no means of defending themselves. You know what, Serapis, actually the Anakin metaphor, the comparison with him, is very powerful because it's exactly the same process. But Rostam, after grieving, he summoned all the chieftains of the host and marched the army to Kachar-Bashi. The wise, the great men, and the veteran chiefs flocked to his presence. And there's a voice that says, Kai Kavuz, who has long lost the far, cannot soar or stand. He is seated on the throne without a guide, and if Afrasiab should suddenly come with an army to invade Iran and conquer all Kaikavuz, our joy and peace would be destroyed. We have won both our honor and vengeance, and we have burned up every city. He says that really lightly. Now, let us go back to the aged king. When feasts begin, we shall be all new men. For 6 years we have had not one glad day. Our slaves, our states, our signets, our families, and our crowns are in Iran. It is wealth that has tasted us thus. Heart sated is soul baited. If you settest thy heart upon this ancient dwelling place, it will be flatter thee, but cozen thee withal. I don't know that word. So, if your heart is not with Ahriman, abstain from greed, which is the enemy. Array yourself and lavish, drink and eat. Such is your portion of this fleeting show. I really like this paragraph because it says, abstain from greed, which is the enemy. Greed can come in many forms, and this person speaking right now is not addressing, he does not mean physical, meaning tangible greed, as in riches. No, the greed for blood is a powerful one, and it's the one that's driving Rostam absolutely insane, because he can't have enough. This cycle of vengeance is impossible to stop at this point, and you might think that the Shāh-nāmeh is a wee bit repetitive lately, and it is intentional because it is describing how terrible the cycle of vengeance is, because there's no way of stopping it. Afrasiab murdered Siavas, Rostam murdered Surkha. Afrasiab would kill somebody else, and therefore the cycle won't be able to be broken, because there's only two ways of doing this: either continuing on to eternity, I guess, or someone raises their hand and says, I cannot bear the burden that is upon my shoulders, carrying out a lifetime of vengeance, because in this book, this is vengeance. Yeah. This is what vengeance is, and this is what the poem wants to be very specific about and tell us how awful this is. And I like the comparison, the mention of greed, as in greed for blood. I really believe this is a powerful poetic image, and I really, really like it, because one can be greedy of many things but Shah. And the matchless Rostam yielded his assent to what these noble had urged. That jocund counselor went on to say, choose pleasure in this wayside inn. Reflect that in the dust there is no brotherhood, and how you will deplore this present good. So basically what this person is conveying Rostam to do is to make a choice. Now he has to decide what and how he wants to continue dwelling in this place. And I believe this is where we stopped Bacha in our Spanish reading. Allow me to check. Yep, this is the place. So we are going to stop now. Thank you so much for accompanying me in another session of the Shāh-nāmeh. This was intense. I really thank for those who stayed through it all, because I'm aware that sometimes these are, they are long, and I linger. I enjoy recreating myself in the words and the explanations, because this book, every time I ask the question out loud, rhetorical, of course, that why do I love this book so much? Some hidden voice in my mind answers automatically. This book is so many things that I am at a loss of words to attempt to describe it. And I don't know. It is the most special thing I never read. And actually, my favorite book is the Book of Kings. And it is such an important thing for me to be reading it with you. Not passages, not selected scurbs, but everything, the entirety of it. We might never finish it, but I don't care. This exercise is very important to me. And that's it. And I have to ask, Umberto, has this been relaxing for you? How are you feeling as this? Thank you, Noso Rosa. I really hope have you liked it. Thank you, Serapis. Oh, thanks for Serapis says thanks to you for sharing these stories with us. We really enjoy them, especially if they are read by someone who's passionate about it. Thank you, Bacha. You make me blush. You make me blush. But yes, I am passionate about this, and this is not even my favorite parts. I am. I am really thinking about doing something, wink, wink, that would be something like, um, commenting on my favorite passages of the Shāh-nāmeh in a much more relaxed way. And I am still, guessing on how to do it. But, oh my God, Umberto, you wrote that well, and I could hear your voice in my head. I could hear you saying, well, it could have been not much worse, but I was enjoyable. Thank you. Enjoyable is not the word I would have used to describe this, but I am happy you enjoyed something about this. But yeah, Bacha, thank you so much for coming to the stream with me. Right? Like, Serapis, did you also read it with your voice, with his voice? Yeah, I also heard like Humberto's, well, we love you, Humberto. We are big fans of you and Sariel in this project, and we love you. That's it. There's no much to it. But Cha, thank you so much for joining me here today. And I hope you have been entertained, because again, enjoyed, I don't know a word I can bring myself to use. I hope you've been entertained by this last session of the Book of Kings. If this is the very first time you encounter these readings, you can check on YouTube and iBox and perhaps Spotify readings, and there's a whole playlist there. For sure they are at iBox and YouTube. If you want to learn about the other kings and all the 38 parts we've covered so far, you can find them there. Thank you to my patrons for supporting me and for allowing me to continue doing this, which is my favorite activity in the whole world, sharing the Shāh-nāmeh with you. I love it, and I hope I will never stop doing so. And that's it. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Captain. And and yes, cheers to Umberto. Boom. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful weekend and take care of yourselves. I cannot say goodbye to you without remembering and remind you that you never stop creating, exploring, and having loads of fun. Until I see you next time, I bid you Khudafiz. Stay safe, but ciao. We listen to each other soon.